And you will realize that how you feel in your body is oftentimes related to how you think. Whereas at the conventional stages, if someone has a disease or someone has depression, they will tend to attribute it to a material cause, like, oh, I'm depressed because of, some material, I don't have enough money. That's why I'm depressed. So let me either go get more money or let me go get some antidepressant pills, which will solve my depression for me. That's how a sort of conventional mind thinks. Whereas a post-conventional mind will start to say, wait a minute, maybe my depression is more psychologically based. Maybe there's trauma in the past I haven't dealt with. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm not fully feeling in my emotions. Let me feel, where is the depression in my body? Maybe it's in my chest. Maybe it's in my heart. Maybe it's in my hands. Maybe, what might be the cause of that? And you start to explore that. You start to maybe do some body work or, bioenergetic type stuff or whatever, yoga. And then you start to establish that mind-body connection. And then you realize that, oh, the depression wasn't some material thing. It was more of a spiritual thing, more of a psychological thing. And then that opens up new ways of dealing with it, healthier ways. So there's a recognition at this pluralist stage that feelings, thoughts, and the body sensations all intertwine and affect each other. How you think affects how you feel, but also how you feel affects how you think. What you put in your body affects how you think and how you feel. How you use your body can expand your ability to be creative and so forth. And this is not just airy-fairy, new agey stuff. I mean, it's real. Just go actually try this stuff and you will see these very real connections between these things. You can't separate the mind from the heart, the logical from the intuitive, or facts from feelings. this stupid binary idea of like, oh, there's facts and then there's your feelings, man. So like the rational people, the sane people, they just go with the facts. That very distinction between facts and feelings that Ben Shapiro likes to use, that itself is grounded all in his own feelings. There's nothing factual or logical or objective or rational about what Ben Shapiro is doing. He's being completely ideological and governed. Everything he's doing, every show he does, everything coming out of his mouth is completely governed by his ego, which is all governed by feelings. But he's so disconnected from it. He's so robotic. You can tell in the way he holds his body, his facial muscles, all this stuff. It's so, you can see he's trying to hold it together to kind of play that good boy, Judeo-Christian kind of like conformist stereotype of what a good Jew has to be. And yeah, it's extremely predictable. There's nothing intelligent about it. It's just he's behaving like a robot. And I'm not trying to pick on him. It's just he's one good example of millions of people who live this way. They're very, very repressed. When you repress your sexuality, you also have to repress your whole body. Your muscles have to be tight. You have to, you're denying yourself. That's what a lot of Christians and Catholics, Muslims and so on, they deal with this sort of the guilt and the pressure of constantly having to deny your animal urges. But at the pluralist stages are sort of opening up. And this is where the hippies come from. So the hippies very much were pluralists. And so the hippies are into free love and they're into psychedelics. Their minds are more open. They're into exploring different cultures and so on. Yeah. But then, of course, the hippies get demonized. Why do the hippies get demonized? Who do the hippies get demonized by? They get demonized by these hyper-rational people or the conformist people. It's the conformists, the achievers, and the experts, and opportunists, I guess, as well, who all demonize the hippies. Because the hippies is that sort of that next quantum leap from the conventional thinking to the post-conventional ways of thinking, which is very threatening to them. It takes a lot of work to become a hippie. Being a hippie is very advanced. See, that's what many of the rationalists don't understand. They think a rationalist thinks, like a rational scientist thinks he's more developed than a hippie. Actually, he's not. Unless he happens to be a scientist and a hippie, then maybe he is. You can also do that at higher stages. So logic and science are no longer absolutes, but one out of many different valid epistemic modes. Pluralists are concerned with making a unique and personal contribution to the world, independent of any socially approved roles or tasks. Pluralists often withdraw into from external affairs and company life to or ordinary daily routines. So they like to live more unconventionally, which of course also corresponds with hippies. Hippie doesn't want to be a square. A square is basically a word that hippies invented for all the conventional thinking people who just go to a 9-to-5 job and just, punch a clock and work at a factory or, work on Wall Street. These are squares. Ben Shapiro is a square. Don't be a square. The pluralist likes to turn inward instead and to search one's own unique gifts and answers to one's own burning questions. That's what the search becomes about. It's about self-exploration and self-expression. That's what hippies are into.